Hey, welcome to the Handmade Daily. I'm Renee, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a custom wedding ring dish. Now, this is a really easy thing to make for all those summer weddings that are coming up. You want to make it personal and you want to make it functional. This is a really great gift. So let me go ahead and give you the supplies, and then we'll get started. For this project, you're going to need a rolling pin. I'm using a glass jar. You're going to need letter stamps, white polymer clay, TLS, a toothpick, wax paper, a dotting tool, and sandpaper is optional. I'm going to start by taking a piece of wax paper and I'm going to lay it out on a clean work surface, and after that I'm going to smooth it out and I'm going to tape it down to keep it in place. This is just going to give me a nice clean smooth surface to work on that my clay isn't going to stick to. And I'm going to start out with a chunk of white clay. It's about the size of a 2-ounce package of Sculpey or Fimo. I'm going to condition it for a moment, and when it's soft enough to work with, I'm going to roll it between my flat palms. And I'm going to end up with this smooth kind of saucer shape. I'm going to press in the middle to start flattening it out, and then I'm going to work my way to the outer edge, just pressing between the pads of my fingers to flatten it all the way around. I'm taking my time with this step, smoothing and rounding out the edge as I go along until I get a flat disc. Not perfect, but close enough, and I'm going to pat it down to even out some of the bumps. Now, I'm using an empty glass jar, but you can use anything with a smooth surface your clay won't stick to. I'm applying gentle, even pressure so I don't distort the round shape, and it lifts right off the wax paper so I can flip it over and roll it out a little more. I have a flat, round disc now, and it should be about 4 inches across. It's a little short, so I'm going to flatten it out just a little more. Again, applying light, even pressure. And now it's 4 inches across. So I can start to form the dish by rolling the edge of the disc upward, using the pads of my fingers to shape the lip of the dish. I'm going to try and make it as even as possible, but it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a little something like this. It's going to be open and kind of floppy and not wanting to maintain its shape. So I'm going to take clay between my fingers and I'm going to kind of pinch the clay together to give the lip of the dish a little more definition. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm kind of going for an organic freeform feel to it. I like it when something looks obviously handmade. So I'm going to go around with my fingertips on the top of the lid and just smooth out any bumps, unevenness. And now I have my ring dish base, and it should be about 3.5 inches across after it's done. So now I'm going to take a piece of white clay, fairly small, and I'm going to condition it until it's soft enough to work with. I'm going to roll it into a ball till it's nice and smooth. It has no like hairline cracks or anything. And I'm going to place it on my work surface. I'm going to roll my finger over one side of it. I'm looking to create a teardrop shape, and I want a pretty pointed tip to it, so I'm going to roll that between the pads of my thumb and my index until I get this nice pointed shape. I'm going to pinch the fat end of the teardrop to where I get this this dip in the middle of it, and I'm going to square off the edge of that to where it kind of looks, it's got this odd shape to it, but it's going to look something like this. And I'm going to take the pointed end, I'm just going to bend it down just a little bit. We're looking to make the beak of the bird. Just bend until you get this nice little bird shape. And I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to get a little piece of clay, not much, very tiny amount, roll it into a ball. I'm going to flatten that between the pads of my finger, and then I'm going to pinch till I get this teardrop shape. This is the wing, and I'm going to place that on the side, and it's going to look like this. Ta-da, little bird. I'm going to take another wing, and I'm going to look at it from like a bird's eye view to make sure everything's even, and then I'm going to press it in place. I'm going to use a toothpick to create the little eyes. I'm just going to press holes into the side, not all the way through, just into the side, and give the impression. Now I have this cute little white dove, and I've gone ahead and I've made a second one because I need 2 for this project. So I've had them made, so I'm going to set them aside and grab my stamps. And the names for this ring dish are Dana, D-A-N-A, and Tim. And so I'm going to start by pressing Dana's name into the clay. You don't have to press hard. I kind of give it just a little wiggle back and forth. And I also found this little set of stamps that has this ampersand that is tiny, and I love it. So I'm going to use it. And I know my T is off. What happened to that? And now I have the names in there. I'm going to use this little daughter tool from Fiskars. I'll put a link to it. I'm going to use the tiny end. I'm going to make an infinity symbol. I'm going to start by finding out where the center point between the two names is. I'm going to put an X. And then after I have the X on there, I'm going to loop around connecting 2 points of the X. And I'm going to go back over and I'm going to loop around again. And now I'm just going to go in over and over really lightly. You want it to be even and press down any little rolls of clay that come up. I'm going to go over it with the bigger end to give a deeper impression until it's a nice, smooth, even infinity symbol. And just pat over lightly with your fingertips. That's what I do to get any of the extra clay. I'm going to use the tiny end of the dotting tool to go back over the letters and make the lettering impression a little deeper. So now we have that. I'm going to grab my TLS translucent liquid Sculpey, and I'm going to put a little dot above each of the loops of the infinity. Place my birds on there. Give a little press. Make sure that it's on there securely. Give a little I press my index finger into their back so that it doesn't distort the shape of the bird. I'm going to remove everything from my wax paper. I'm going to lift up the tape, and I'm going to pull the wax paper taut, and now I can move it to a baking sheet without messing up the dish. Now, while that's baking, I'm going to show you what the sandpaper is for. This is a little gnome house cottage that I made. I'm going to take the lid off. See all the lint and the dirt and stuff that's in there? I'm going to take my sandpaper and really lightly buff the lint, the dirt, and some of the hairline cracks come right out into a smooth, soft, matte, velvety finish. I hope you had fun with this project. Go ahead and subscribe to the Handmade Daily channel for more tips, tricks, and how-tos.